like how to make money.
This step is absolutely crucial.
What I charge for an in-feed post. And the truth is,
so it's going to push it out there so more people can see it.
This is actually the perfect video for me to plug my Instagram, so go and follow me over there because it's a bloody good time. I got heaps of questions on my Instagram about how to build an online profile, how to make money from Instagram, and I thought I'd go through them and make a nice little informative video for you. I'm going to try and leave timestamps below so you can just skip to whichever part that you're most interested in. I'm going to try and make it organised. I mean, I've made notes, so hopefully that goes to plan. I've got my blue light glasses because I'm going to be looking at my phone an awful lot, and I am ready to spill the deets. So I'm going to start by going over some basics and basic tips, but also answering a few questions that were commonly asked. But also I just want to establish you shouldn't be starting an Instagram with the intention to grow. It's all right to want to grow. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of natural. But go into it with the right intentions. Do it to express creativity, do it to be part of a community, do it to become inspired. Don't do it with the sole purpose of just to get big on Instagram and earn a bit of money, because people will see right through that. And if you just post what you like, the sort of content that you like to consume, then like-minded people will come towards you, and then your vibe will attract your tribe and it'll all be good. That's just for starters. A lot of people are saying, how long does it take to get a good following? Well, for me, once I started taking Instagram seriously, I started my profile in 2018, but I really started to take it seriously at the end of 2019. At the start of 2020, I hit 4,000 followers, and I'm currently at 27,000. But honestly, it can be quicker than that, it can be longer than that. It just depends how much effort you put into it. But from the start of this year to get to 10k, it took me until June, so 6 months. I was kind of lucky because I had a few posts that took off, so that definitely helped bring traction to my profile. But again, you can definitely do it quicker, you can definitely do it slower. I got a lot of questions about burnout and how to remain inspired and sort of keep consistent with your feed. I find that if you bulk create content on days that you are feeling inspired and are feeling creative, then you'll have a back catalogue of stuff that you can sort of rely on to pull out when you're not in the mood to create. So then you have less pressure to be sort of innovating every single day because you have that bank of stuff that you can sort of just reach to whenever. Is it possible with a full-time job? Yes, it is. You just have to work really hard, because my biggest tip probably is to be consistent. So when I started posting daily is when I saw the biggest jump in engagement and followers. Instagram really values consistency because they see that a lot of people are coming to your page time and time again, and that becomes more possible if you have more content. So naturally, posting every day helps. So another important thing is finding a niche, finding a category that you want to fit in and want to create content around. So if you're a food account, are you a food account? Do you do vegan food? Do you explore the options of takeout food around the area? Do you do zero waste food? Sort of really narrow in to your niche, and then once you sort of establish an audience, then you can experiment with posting other things. But I'd say be really specific in the type of content you want to post. A lot of people ask me how to find an aesthetic and is it important to maintain one. I'd say loosely, don't follow it to a T, because that can be stressful and it's like undue stress. Like, you don't have to worry about that all the time. But I would say when people go onto your grid, they're going to see the most recent 9 posts, so you want them to have some sort of cohesion. I like to maintain sort of a warm palette. I'll talk more about that when I go into my editing, because then people will associate that style of editing with your feed, and it'll help you stick out, because they'll say, oh, I recognise that style of photo, I recognise that editing. They become more familiar with your account, and then it will stay in their brains. I've gone through quite the evolution with my aesthetic. So if we scroll way back, I was really into like overly saturated, bright close-up pictures, and these pictures, they performed well, don't get me wrong, but I don't think there's any shame in wanting to change your style. Like, don't be afraid of it. If you can see, I started including more people pictures, which definitely helps, and sort of a bit more variance in the type of shots, so some close-up, some far away. So with finding an aesthetic, it is just a little bit of trial and error. Just find what you like, be inspired by other people, but don't copy. I think that's important, because if you just copy, you're not going to stand out. So on the topic of finding time to post, like I mentioned about having a back catalogue of stuff that you could just reach to, when I was working in retail last year, I would just post in my work breaks. I would always make time for it. Sometimes I'd wake up extra early to take some photos and then go to work, and then in my work break I'd post the photos, just because for me it was a hobby and I really enjoyed doing it, so it didn't feel like an effort. I loved posting stuff and hearing people's feedback and connecting with the community. So I think if you really enjoy doing something, you'll be able to find the time and work it into your life. It is hard work. Just some other quick questions before I get on to working with brands and editing and all that. A lot of people ask me, at what point do you start earning money? At how many followers do you need to start earning money? And the truth is, it's really not about followers at all. It's more about your engagement. So if you have 10,000 followers, but if you're only getting like 100, 200 likes on your photos, then That's going to be worth so much less to brands than if you have, say, 2,000 followers and you're getting a really high engagement, so like maybe 700 likes. Anything above 10% engagement is really, really good. Obviously when your account grows, it's normal to get less than 10% just because you have a bigger audience in general and it's hard to show your post to everyone. But don't let the number of followers hold you back. If you know you produce good quality content and you have a highly engaged audience, then you can pitch to brands. That's how it is.
I thought a bit of change of scenery might be nice. So the next part I'm going to talk about is how to grow a following. Now, Instagram's algorithm is so tricky and I feel like it changes every single day, but these are just the things that worked for me initially when I grew. So as I said before, posting daily, it's a hard task, but like it's worth it. And Instagram definitely rewards that by pushing your content out more. This is quite a big one, making easily shareable content, especially easy ones, because people think, oh, I can do that really easy. So they're going to save it, they're going to share it with their friends. Things that people are going to save, so recipes are really good, because when people save your photo, that's like a super like. Instagram sees that as, wow, this is a really valuable post, so it's going to push it out there so more people can see it. Because their main goal basically is to get more people to stay on the app for longer, so you just gotta feed their ego. Is it important to show your face? I'd say yes, because people relate to people. It's much more easy to make a connection with someone when you can see who they are. Throughout the whole of 2018 and most of 2019, the photo for my account was a logo. And honestly, there was very, very little growth during that time just because, as I said, people want to see people because people relate to people in real life. So I'd definitely say showing more of you and showing more of your personality. And on that as well, you want to bring personality to your captions. You don't want just a bog standard hey or an emoji or just like drop a recipe and leave, because you want to set yourself apart. You want to bring a bit of pizzazz to it. So if I show you like a present day caption, I just talk a bit more colloquially and like and a bit chatty. I mean, I said yabba dabba do. And then if I scroll all the way back, I'll just show you an example from the start. So that caption just brings nothing to the table really, does it? Yeah, things like that. And you got to think, why are people going to your profile? People want to be entertained. They don't just want to see a bog standard recipe, a one-word caption. I'll just compare that with another present day one. Even on photos that don't necessarily on the outset look like they are very valuable, you want to bring something in the caption that people will come back to. So I always try and make them at least helpful to someone. So you can see how many saves this one got. People love a recipe. And as you can see, actually I got no views from hashtags in this photo. And I'll come on to that later. I got most of my views from the explore page. And I think you get onto the explore page just by people sharing your stuff. This step is absolutely crucial in growing your profile. You want to engage with the community, you want to engage with your fellow creatives. For me, this is actually my favourite part, because social media is a social experience. It's not just about you wanting to grow your profile, it's about connecting with other people. That's why it's called social media. And I genuinely love being in such a like-minded community and getting to know people on a personal level and thinking, oh yeah, I know you like that, oh I remember that about you, and genuinely making friends. It's the best part. So I'd say dedicate at least an hour. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's the fun part, to go through and be inspired by people's pictures. So at least an hour to commenting, liking, sharing on other people's photos and having a genuine conversation with them. None of this just love heart on someone's post. Read the caption, respond to the caption, have a jolly old time. I think that's really important. What do you think about engagement pods? Don't do it. Don't do it. To be honest, I actually didn't know what an engagement pod was until a month ago when someone DM'd me asking what pods I was in, and I was like, excuse me? Excuse me? I'd also stay away from DMing people saying, hey, love it if we could follow each other on this journey. None of that follow for a follow. It's got to be an organic following. So yeah, try and stay away from that. I want to talk to you a little bit about optimizing a post. I'll just show you what I mean by that. So I'm obviously not going to use this, but this was my breakfast this morning. So let's say, I'll just turn that contrast down, it's a bit overbearing, isn't it? Tag a location, and you want to tag accounts that will likely share content. So I like tagging the feed, I like tagging well and good, because these are the accounts with the established audience that are likely to share photos. So you want to make sure your tags are optimized, you want to make sure you've got a location, and then you obviously want to make sure you've got an interesting caption. Another helpful tip to boost engagement on photos is to leave a call to action. So what call to action is basically a little nugget that encourages people to engage with the post. So like,
what's your favourite breakfast question mark?
You know, something less banal than that. But asking a question at the end of your caption will encourage people to leave an answer and ultimately spark a conversation within the comments, which helps boost the engagement. Now this is really hypocritical coming from me, but definitely reply to all comments within the first hour of posting your photo, and that's when you want to be the most active, because the Instagram, because the algorithm will look at how it performs within the first hour, so you want it to be as lively and hustling and bustling as possible, so make sure you're up to date on your comments. Also, try and reply to DMs quickly. I'm such a hypocrite. I find it really hard to stay on top of DMs, but yeah, that definitely helps. One more little tidbit on growing a profile would be to make other people's recipes. So if you're a fan of an account and you like what they post, make their recipe and then they might share it on their story and introduce their audience to your profile. But I will say it's common courtesy not to include their recipe in your caption. You want to credit the person who came up with the recipe and sort of just show your respects to the time that they spent developing the recipe. Instead of putting it in your profile, just say, check out this person's account. I'm not bitter, by the way, not at all. I think we should take some photos now, don't you? While I've been recording this video, I baked a cute little sweet potato loaf. I like to do it in the morning because that's when the light comes through in this room, which is the kitchen. Number one tip, natural light always. I don't have any light boxes or anything like that. I just feel like nothing compares to natural light, especially a bit of sunlight coming in, but it adds a bit of dimension to the photo. It's quality. I just used my phone camera, which is my Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra. This one. So yeah, phone camera, natural light, big open window, you're good to go. Also, this sort of seems silly to say, but constantly wipe your lens because it gets so mucky during the day, just general use. I've just got a wooden board here in contrast with a white background, which I think works really well. I don't like my photos overly busy, and I think the simplicity of this really works. So I just position the bread into a space where the light hits it, and this is where I go crazy. I take so many photos, and you just got to make sure you're covering all angles, because you might want to do a swipe feature, and then when you get too impatient, you eat it. I've taken quite a few. And now we edit. I'm not going to go into major detail about how I edit, just because that could be a whole separate video in itself and that would take too long. But as I said, I do like to keep like a cohesive theme, so the same sort of colour tones. And the apps I use are Lightroom, sometimes, not even all the time, and then just the Instagram app. So let's do a little screen record, shall we? So I did take quite a few photos. Let's go for this one. Then I open it up in Lightroom. I'll take one of the photos that I've previously edited and I'll just go copy settings and then apply it to this photo. And that's how you sort of keep the same tones. It's nicer to look at in general. So what I like to do, I'll just show you, I generally just like to get rid of any sort of blue colours. So I just mess around with these two and like turn them down until there's no blue left. Other than that, I turn down the highlights and turn down the whites. I don't know, I just prefer how that looks. So in the final bit, I open it up in Instagram and then I up the warmth. And that is it. That is it. So to test it out on my feed, I'll just take a screenshot of that and then I'll open it up in the planner app. Now I think having a planner app is really valuable because you can just mess around and I sort of just see where it can go. A little sneak preview of what's to come. In fact, let's get rid of these, see what it looks like. So I'll probably post that today. People are asking if there's a specific time that you have to upload. So I'm not really strict with uploading at the same time every day, but I do tend to do it later in the day just because of the time zones. As long as you're just staying really active within the community, then I don't think it really matters because Instagram doesn't do it chronologically anymore. I can't stay still, I had to move. Now I wouldn't blame you if you just skip to this part straight away because this is probably the most interesting part, like how to make money, how to connect with brands, do you reach out to them, all that jazz. So I mentioned before that it's not really about how many followers you have, it's just more about how engaged they are and how much you value your own work. And if you know that you produce good content, then back yourself, don't undersell yourself, because a lot of the time brands will take advantage of smaller accounts who have really high engagement, who don't technically know that they can be charging for what they do, and they'll end up producing really high quality content in exchange for just a gifted product, which they don't tend to be worth that much, so like a packet of crisps. So I just think knowing your value is really important. I started getting sent stuff regularly at around 3k. I'd be like, yeah, heck yeah. So there are two types of collabs you can do. You can do a gifted collab and you can do a paid collab. My first paid collab, I had 5,000 followers, so around the start of this year. It was just for one in-feed post. Brands actually make you sign a disclosure contract where you can't state the fee that you've been paid, but I will say it was double figures, and it was between 40 and 60.
this year really wasn't very much, but I was producing high quality photos and I probably could have asked for more, but at the time I was quite nervous and I didn't really know how to pitch myself. Do you approach brands and how to pitch yourself? I don't really do it so much anymore, and when I did do it, I would never go to a brand with the intention of doing a paid collab, because likely they've already allocated their budget for influencer marketing and they're not looking for any more paid collabs. But you can definitely reach out and let them know that you're there and say, hey, I really love your products, I think my audience would be interested in them too. But I would err on the side of caution and I wouldn't go all guns blazing hoping for a paid collab. It's really important to stay on top of your emails, because a lot of the times brands reach out to you that way, and a lot of the times they won't mention that they have a budget for influencer marketing. So you basically just say, hey, I would love to work with you, your product looks great, I really think it aligns with my audience. Do you have a particular budget in mind? Let me know, I'd love to hear back. You know, something like that, something more gentle. I'll just follow up by attaching my media kit. So it's important to make a media kit and a rates card. To be honest, I've just combined mine, done it in one. So a media kit is oftentimes a PDF that just has your analytics, your demographics, your engagement rate, some examples of brands that you work with in the past, just to let the brand know what you can offer them. You can find loads of examples on Google Images. Just type in media kit and it'll show you loads of examples. And I've decided my rates on to the media kit, what I would charge for stories and the swipe up option, what I would charge for an in-feed post. There are third-party apps that you can use that try and link creators and brands, but the price that they recommend you pitch at is so low. So I don't think you should take that as reference. And again, what you charge is up to you. If you know that you have a really engaged audience and a lot of people watch us a lot of the time, I get more views on my story than people who see my in-feed posts. So I know that stories are really valuable. It's also most likely that they're the people who actually trust you because they watch your stories consistently. So it's like a committed audience. So yeah, definitely be aware that stories hold a lot of value, and make sure that you're getting recognized for your hard work. To make enough money from this full time, I'd say you have to be active and actually seek out brands. I don't really do that. I'm more passive because it's not my full-time job. I don't feel like the need to accept everything that gets offered to me. So I just wait for like brands that I truly love and believe in, and I only really work with those ones because I'm quite picky. But if you want to get noticed by some of your favourite brands, just remember to tag them and show that you use them authentically, because then they'll be like, oh, this person, they actually believe in our product. And then you can produce more authentic content for them because it's actually believable that you use the brand. You always want to be polite to brands though, because at the end of the day, they're just trying to hustle, aren't they? And a lot of the time, if the sponsorship goes well, then you build a lasting relationship with them and you can sign contracts with them where you work together more frequently. It's more of a steady, guaranteed income. So often you do discounts for your first collab just to show them that you actually do provide value for them. So you get sent the product, you take pictures with the content, you send it away for brand approval. They'll come back with any notes, constructive or otherwise. You'll have to send a draft of the caption as well, and they'll make notes on that. But you can give them feedback and say, hey, look, this doesn't really sound like what I would say, can I phrase it this way? And then you'll agree on an upload date, and then after it's been approved, you can send them the invoice. Just download like an app for that. QuickBooks is a really good one, and it really is that simple. I'd say once you've got over 10,000 followers, you can start charging 3 figures per post. I think that's a fair assumption. And obviously the factors that you weigh in is just the resources you use, how long it takes you to take the pictures, the effort that you put in, all that adds up, and then you can come to a summation of what you think they're worth. I think that's everything. If I forgot something, ask me in the comments and I'll try and answer them there. But I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'm so bad at sit down videos because I just want to be moving all the time. But thank you again for watching. Please give it a like if it was helpful, and I'll see you next time. Bye.